are alive and well in many ways, and that's not going away.
This is the North American Service broadcasting on 17.70, 15.42, 12.05.
Now you will worship her together.
What have you done to its eyes?
You'll be the person sitting by the other voice.
The next time you're frightened in the dark, don't scream.
They are not what they claim to be. You're listening to Radio.
I'm here with Amber.
Oh my god, I'm here with Dom.
That's so true.
That is so true right now. Oh,
Why are we here though?
Because we miss you guys so much.
That's true.
We're just jumping right into it. We're like, why are we here? Oh, we're here for a reason. First of all, season 1 has ended. We're in our blackout period right now, working on season 2.
And I am blacked out.
And Dom is blacked out right now.
I'm fucked up right now.
Fucked up right now. I'm still on the wagon. Dom has flown off the wagon and like fell like kind of like a cartoon, you know, when
Like
it's
off the side of a cliff into like a bottle of Jaeger.
or like I was kind of more thinking like you're upside down with like your legs up in the air and your arms straight out, but your head is like in the ground. Like that's how hard you fell off the wagon. And you're just like,
Dude, I wish. Fucking A.
no,
It's hard out here for a pimp, dude.
I know you're pimping hard and I'm hardly pimping. So, so anyway, yeah, like I said, season 1 is over. We're working on season 2. We have announced our official release date for season 2, which is going to be Halloween of this year, 2024. Ooh, just like last year. We know that that's kind of far out. We really wanted to start sooner, but just with the topics that we have decided to go over and everything that we like have rolling right now, it was definitely within everybody's best interest to not rush it. We are working on lots of series. I'm currently working on a 4-part Poltergeist series, so and some history stuff. So it's just a lot of work, and we want to actually finish it before we record it. You know what I mean? So we're looking at Halloween 2024. I feel like there was something else I wanted to say.
Stay hydrated.
Yeah, stay hydrated, stay woke. Oh, wait, what we're doing today.
Oh, duh.
So, you guys, we decided, because we haven't really put up anything recently. We've been putting up our blooper reels, and those are super fun. But still, there are things that keep happening that we're seeing. At least, like, I keep getting exposed to all of these like current events, and I want to talk about them, but I also have no one to really talk to about it sometimes. Except for maybe Zach, who, by the way, Zach and I just had our 3-year anniversary. So that's super great.
Congratulations.
We actually don't know what day is our anniversary day. All we know that it's in July. So we decided to make it
anniversary month.
Yeah, kind of. Like, I think we're still trying to figure it out. We're like, oh, should it be tomorrow? Oh, maybe we should do the 16th because that is when we're going to go see Longlegs. Or should we do the 17th because then it's 7/17, and then that way we'll never forget it again. I mean, we've been together for 3 years. We don't know how long. Like the actual date of our anniversary. We've never even thought about it. Like,
I feel like the date isn't very important.
No.
Just round it.
I remember
July.
Right. I remember last year I came home from work sometime in July. I don't remember. I think it was the beginning of July. Who knows? But I came home and I had like a really shitty day, and I like was in a really, really bad mood, and Zach was at work, and I came home and there were like flowers and chocolate and a note from Zach that was like, happy anniversary. I can't wait to see you tonight. I love you so much. Like, you're the star in my, apple, my eye, whatever. Not whatever, but all this nice stuff. And I was like, oh my God, did I forget? So when he came home, I was like, oh my God, I totally forgot. Like, is today our anniversary? And he was like, well, I don't know. So it's just been kind of like that for every year that we've been together. Anyway, I'm just talking way too much. But today is July 14th. It is fucking 11 o'clock at night. And
it's my mom's birthday.
Oh my God. Happy birthday, Jerry.
Yeah. Yeah, she was talking about how woke the millennials are, but there are some smart ones, she said.
Oh, she's not talking about us.
So, I think she thinks we are smart and not woke. So that's, yeah.
Oh, she should see us behind closed doors.
Dude, she should hear this fucking podcast.
Literally. But yeah, like kind of last minute, like I sent Dom a message that was something like, hey dude, I just saw this super crazy thing. Maybe would you be cool with recording like a discussion about it, and maybe we could put it up just because I don't want to leave like everybody high and dry on the podcast. And Dom has been kind enough to say, yeah, let's totally fucking do that, even though everything is in turmoil all around me. So I said, fucking sweet. So we thought it was such a good idea that we might as well just make it into like a series, you know, impromptu series. So this is our first episode of Evil Airwaves. This is just going to be like Evil Airwaves, which I came up with today, and I feel so fucking like smart. I was thinking about other names, but then I was like, Evil Airwaves by Radio Grave. I was like, that sounds pretty good. Watch. I will literally go and see that there's like 10 other podcasts that have the same fucking thing. And they'll be crazy.
No, because it's probably Scare Waves.
Oh, that's smart. But I like Airwaves. That's fine. Evil Airwaves is definitely our vibe. And if I'm stealing it from someone, I'm very sorry. But this is Radio Grave. This is Radio Gaze.
Radio Gaze.
This is this is Radio Grave Evil Airwaves.
Episode 1.
Evil Airwaves. Current events. Episode 1. So I came upon something really, really fucking weird. Very randomly. I did not see anything about this online. And then all of a sudden it came up on my reels or something on Instagram. And it was in regards to a discovery that occurred, I think it was about 2 months ago in Western Colorado. And
whoa, it was 2 months ago?
It was 2 months ago. And
see, I didn't hear about any of this until literally today.
Literally, yeah, like same. And then when I've been trying to search about it and look into it, virtually not a lot of people have reported about it or talked about it either. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I also am just the kind of person where I'm like, okay, well, this is such a weird, peculiar thing. I would think that more people would be talking about it. So I don't know if it's just like obscure, which I hate being like, it's such a weird and obscure thing. But like, I wish more people were talking about it, because then I'd maybe have more ideas to bounce off if I'm hearing other people talk about it. But for now, it's just been like bouncing around in my head. But basically, this guy, his name is Levi Comstock. He has a YouTube. He basically does epoxy, like professional epoxy design and work. And he's like very, very popular. He has like a pretty good little channel, and that's all he does. And he reported, this was 2 months ago, he was out in the middle of the Book Cliffs recreation area. And he was out there testing out a new truck. He says that, you know, he was in the Marines. And when he got out of the Marines, he's lived in Western Colorado for like 16 years. He's like super familiar with this recreation area. And I don't know why I wrote down recreation area. I think it's more like BLM, you know what I mean? It's just open to the public. Like anyone can really go out there. It doesn't necessarily belong to anyone, but I don't know if it's necessarily like recognized as like a park or reserve, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
but basically he was out there and he was testing out a new truck, and he had to take a piss. So he like was hanging. He and he's alone. He went over a fence and he realized that he was in an area that he wasn't incredibly familiar with, an area that he hadn't really explored very much before. This is a huge area too, and it's like out in the desert. And he comes across a pond, which he had never seen before. And I mean, this pond looks like it was once at one point, it probably at one point was like a man-made irrigation sort of livestock pond. It literally is in the middle of this fucking like high desert in Colorado. And it's definitely like a dirty, muddy, like little pond that isn't really supposed to be there. But the water levels do like ebb and flow. I'm not really sure how. I probably should have looked into it, but I didn't. So he like is like, oh, this is weird. I've never seen this before. And it's really muddy and it's really like fucked up. And there's not a place where like you go fishing or go swimming or anything. It's like a big mud pond. And he is walking around, checking out the pond, taking a piss. And he finds a pair of shoes, or he at least finds one shoe. And then there's another shoe not very far away, and they're a pair. And he's like, oh, like, that's weird. Someone lost their shoes out here. Haha. And then he finds another pair of shoes. And then he finds another pair of shoes. And all in all, on that first day that he was out there, he found 6 pairs, full pairs, 6 of them, women's shoes. All of them different sizes, all of them in different states of deterioration from being out in the elements. They're all kind of the same style of being like fancier or like skimpy. They're high heel shoes or high knee boots, that kind of vibe. So he's like, why am I out at this remote pond and I have found 6 pairs of women's shoes? Like, this is fucking weird. So basically, he comes back the next day and he has, I think he had a couple of friends with him, or maybe he had told 1 or 2 friends about it and they came out. And on that day, they found a brand new pair of ladies' nylons, or at least like a not very like disturbed or like deteriorated pair of ladies' nylons, and then 3 more pairs of shoes. And then on the 3rd day, they found another pair of shoes. So that's 10 pairs of women's shoes. And then after that, they did find more. So all in all, I think at this point, he found 12 pairs of women's shoes at this pond area. And he said that depending on when you go out there, the water levels change. So one day when it was particularly low, he saw that there was a man-made rock pathway which led out to the middle of the pond. So when the water is high, you can't really see it. On that day, he did walk out there as far as he could, and he saw some plastic sticking up out of the water, and he went to pull it up, and it was a broken off heel. And so he realized like, oh, this is to another pair of shoes. But when he took it back to the shore, he realized that it went to a pair of shoes he had already found, which means that at one point those shoes were in the pond and then they ended up out of the pond.
Okay.
They also found a false nail that was out there. I don't know if that's just coincidental. It was like I don't think it was like a real acrylic. I think it was a press-on. They also found 2 to 3 like holes, dugout holes. Didn't seem like they were very deep, not even like a foot, but there were obvious shovel marks. I mean, we're talking high desert. This is like West Mesa, and it's not really good like digging ground. It's not digging soil. So it wasn't really that, deep. But they also found something really, really strange, which was a little like compact sort of piece of cloth that was wrapped up super tight in what they said was barb. They kept saying it was a barb or fishing line. And it was wrapped really, really, really tightly around this piece of cloth. And when they untied it, they thought it was bones inside because it was like hard. But when they unwrapped it, it was actually filled with stones. It was a shirt at one point, and it had been ripped up. And on the outside of the shirt, it was white from being out in the sun, but the inside was like a navy blue. And I like kind of paused it and was like looking at the fucking shirt because I was like, where the fuck is this from? And it was from some sort of heating and cooling company. And I just wanted to see, like, maybe there was a business nearby. I looked into it, and it was, like, kind of obsessive, so I, like, had to stop. So he did tell the sheriff's office, like, pretty quickly. And they didn't seem like they were very interested. And then they, like, got back to them, and they were like, hey, we've found 12 pairs of women's shoes. So then they were like, okay, no problem. We'll come out and we'll look for it. They ended up excavating the pond, but they didn't find anything else. They found no bones. I think they found one bone, and it was not a human bone. Okay. They found no bones. They found nothing out there at all. And they said that it was probably dumping for garbage, like an illegal trash dumping site. Like they concluded that that was that was why the items were there, and said that it was very common in the desert areas, which like you and I are both from, like an area which is high desert. It's not as dry and fucked up as like West Mesa is, but I have been out on. They call it something that's like kind of racist where we're from, but it's like a road, like a long stretch of road that is just like open, like BLM land. People go out there to shoot guns. There's like old lava caves out there where people go to drink and like worship Satan, and people do dump garbage out there. That's totally true. But I would be like, I've never come upon a dumping site that was literally just 12 pairs of women's shoes. And then they also said that they believe that it's probably a fetish. They said when they were looking into sex crimes and missing people, they realized that there is a new fetish that has surfaced, which is women in high heels walking in mud, dredging through mud. And they said that's probably exactly what it was. Like, and that's it. So it was definitely like a weird explanation from the sheriff's department. But to me, I mean, yeah, it seems like everybody is really kind of disregarding this weird discovery as being nothing special, which is so strange because like the West Mesa area is just fucking rampant with missing women and serial killers for the past like fucking 40 years. And the police did say like that none of the shoes fit the description of any missing women that they had on file. And I just like, I don't know. I just feel like it's so weirdly dismissive and strange, like really just strange. But that's why
it is definitely weird. It is uncomfortable, I think, like off-putting to find. I can see why people dismiss it, I guess. But you said this was like 2 months ago, right?
This was 2 months ago. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, because if it was like, a couple days ago, I could see, there have been a lot of other current events that are taking precedence in the news. But I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's one of those things where since it's so up in the air and not necessarily, like foul play, that
right,
people just want to be dismissive, but hard to know.
Right. It is hard to know. I mean, when I think of Colorado, I think of like two things. I think of South Park, and then I think about how Colorado, there just is, the shootings just have been happening there for like ever. Like there's always shootings happening in Colorado. I don't know why. Like, I think about that. I think about if I ever go to Colorado, I'll probably get shot in a fucking mall.
Are you? Wow.
Oh my God, like it doesn't fucking happen there all the fucking time.
Yeah, and I mean, most of my family who lives in Colorado no longer lives or has moved, so.
Yeah. None of them have been victims of gun crimes.
No, though from what I hear, my brother narrowly missed going to the showing at that Dark Knight showing that got shot
Yeah, the Dark
in
Knight.
Aurora.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, the one that like went on to inspire like many, many more of that nature. Like, yeah. So
Yeah, lovely stuff.
So anyway, but yeah, this is something that I've just been thinking about, and I've literally sent it to every single person that I know, and they've all kind of said the same thing where they're like, that's like so weird, but yeah, it's probably a fetish, which I can totally understand, but I'm also,
What if it's not?
Yeah, like what if it's not? I feel like that's so weird, and the thing that gets me is that they're all different styles. Some of them are like modern, like the above the knee. There's like one pair of like little heels that are like very like 70s, like kind of hipster, like black and white, like the kind of shit you would see like chicks wearing in like 2010, 2009, 2010 at like a tea shop or whatever, just like vintage kind of style. So, I mean, there's just all kinds of different shoes in all different sizes. And I mean, in our day and age, it's 2024. Like, if people have this very, very niche fetish, generally speaking, they are like profiting from it. If you're getting like multiple different women who are wearing multiple different size shoes in different styles to walk through mud, it's really, really easy to just record it on your phone and then have that for safekeeping for yourself. But then you can also turn around and fucking sell it online. I don't really understand how they can just be like, oh, that's probably what it is. Maybe they just think that it's not worth their time. But it's an obvious killing field. Like, the desert like that is just like the perfect area to dump a body. Especially partially in water. It's fucking hot as shit. That area is only full of like coyotes and fucking like birds of prey. So like if you were to dump a body out there, it wouldn't last very long. It would just get spread out, you know? And
Yeah.
And even if you did put it in the water, like even more so, it gets soft, it gets easily more spread out. Who's to say that if someone is killing women, right, or was killing women, you can take shoes and dump them someplace, keep the wallets and the IDs, burn the clothes, and then dump the women elsewhere. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
true.
Like, and I feel like if you've been a killer for long enough, you know how to dispose of people and their things. So I don't think it's necessarily garbage. I think it's intentional. I can't imagine someone would go out there to dump garbage, which only consists of 12 women's shoes over the course of several months to make them all deteriorate at different times. You know, some are super advanced and others are newer. So I think it's intentional. Either someone put them there on purpose or someone is walking through the mud out there and getting hard. But I don't know. I thought it was just so fucking interesting. And even if it isn't involving a crime, I still think it's fucking wild as fuck.
It is really weird. I mean, every reasoning or, you know, any reason that they would be out there doesn't make common sense to me.
Zero
Like,
common sense.
Yeah, of like, oh, you have a bunch of shoes, you want to get rid of them. Why are you bringing just your shoes all the way out there?
Literally.
Oh, you have a thrift store or a collection and you're shutting down, you want to trash it. But you don't want to go to the dump. Why are you going out there? And why just the shoes? Like,
Yeah. Like, that's what people kept saying. They're like, it's obviously just an illegal garbage site. It's so fucking remote. It is insanely remote. Like, when he, like, pans around to, like, the whole area, it is insane. There is nothing to see at all. There's nothing out there. Like,
or you're doing crack.
Or-
There's probably no evidence of
Well,
I mean, is there anything, did they mention any other trash that was found? Or is it just the shoes and
it's
stuff?
just the shoes. Just the shoes and women's nylons, I think, and the little thing of rocks. They also said that there's like little tiny bottles of vodka, but they're like airplane vodkas.
Yeah.
You know
I mean,
what
I hate to say it, but it sounds like it could be a fetish zone, like a place to stage fetish stuff, but in a sex crime way.
Yeah, it could be.
That is kind of my feeling. And maybe those things are left there like as a marker or as, like souvenirs.
Right.
But that would sort of make sense for it to be kind of like a ritualistic space for that kind of thing.
Yeah. Who's to say that like girls aren't being picked up and being like, hey, I don't really want to have sex with you. I just need you to do these things for me. And then takes them out to the middle of nowhere and like has them walk in mud, which is also fucking terrifying. Like if I'm a sex worker and someone picks me up and I'm like, okay, you ready? And they're like, well, actually, I'm going to drive you out to the middle of nowhere in the Book Cliffs and you're going to walk through some mud for me in a super remote, isolated pond that's hidden that no one knows about.
Yeah. What are the odds? It seems slim.
Well, simultaneously, it's not the same woman. And that kind of brings me back to, like, there's this, like I said, like, there's this niche kind of sexual fetish from this. And when you find one woman to do it for you, she'll keep doing it.
Generally, yeah.
If you're paying her, she'll keep fucking doing it. So why aren't they coming back to do it? Like I said, if I was a sex worker and a guy picked me up and he said, I want you to do this, and I rolled the dice and I went out there and I did it, and he didn't fucking kill me, then I would continue to do that for him. If he's paying me to do something like that doesn't involve sex, but it does pay for my time, it's a lot easier to walk through the mud, than having sex with these men, in my opinion, So
in my personal opinion,
I would think
that is sound.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I just feel like it's really, really weird. It's just, there's just something not right about it. Even if it is a fetish, even if it is a dumping ground for just victim shoes and not anything else, or if it's someone who went out there and said, I fucking hate all these shoes, fuck these shoes, none of these shoes fit me, they're all too small and they're all too big, like,
Oh my God.
Like, I don't really know. So I just wanted to like say something about it. I'm going to keep my eye out for any like updates.
Please remain on the line.
Hi guys, it's Amber. I'm editing, and of course, as soon as we record and we talk about the West Colorado shoe in the pond situation, Levi Comstock comes out and he puts out a public statement. Basically, he said that he was slow to respond because it is just something that is really, really serious. By the time that the police did get involved, Levi had actually found 13 pairs of shoes. And then when the police came in, they took him into an interrogation room where they kind of put some heat on him and then made him circle some places on a map. And then they went out and they excavated very thoroughly. And he said that their local news did report on it, the Daily Sentinel, and the Sentinel did end up misreporting a lot of it. There were no matches to missing people, and that it wasn't anything specific, and that it was just a dumping site. And he said that there's a lot of stuff that just seems like it was changed. He kind of says something like about how he wants to be sure that he's safe and that his family is safe. And I don't really know what that's all about. He basically said that this is the last time he is going to talk about it because Levi came out to the public first. He is not going to say anything else publicly. He's not going to answer any questions. And he is just done with the whole thing. And that anything that else that comes up is just going to be up to the police. So he's distancing himself from this situation. The only thing that he really said that he was kind of irritated about is that they were pushing that this was a fetish. It just doesn't seem right. The fact that a lot of the shoes that he found, they were not recovered from the mud. They were found on the land. Some of them didn't even come close to the water or had no water damage. I think that does beg the question of why would they say, oh, this is 100% a fetish and X, Y, and Z, when, like, yeah, maybe some of the shoes were found in the mud, but most of them weren't. That's something that I didn't realize, because I had read a couple articles and they kind of pushed for that. And I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Like I said, this is the last time he's going to talk about it. I really appreciate that he did clarify a couple things. He said that the media is really irritated with him, the local law enforcement, and then also some people in the community are pretty like disappointed about him coming out publicly and talking about this. And he just wants to be done with it. Anyways, I just wanted to give that little update. Of course, as soon as I'm editing, I find out that he puts out an update about everything. So anyway, back to the story. But like I said, like, like there was the West Mesa murders that happened. Like that was a while back, but that was like almost 20 women or something. And they were all sex workers except for one, you know, or maybe it wasn't 20. It was like definitely over 12 though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that is like that grand area where they're like, you know, the victims were ranging all the way from like, Albuquerque, which is where it mainly was. But there was victims also from Denver. I just really feel like it's not impossible for that to be a thing. We know that there are current active serial killers in America right now. They think that there's one in Texas right now. There was one in Portland, which I probably should look back into because I don't know if that ever got resolved or if they know anything. And then they just caught the Long Island murderer. That guy was a fucking terrifying piece of shit. But, you know, I think the one thing they all have in common is they are like picking off people that usually are not missed. The one that's like happening in Texas is really weird because it's like coincidental drownings. Like all in one area, and it's all men, young men in their 20s that are somehow drowning in this one like river lake area. I want to say it's called like Ladybird Lake or something, like, and it's in a city, and they just keep pulling out like young men's bodies. Like,
you know what's so interesting? All of the states that you're mentioning are connected to my brother. He just moved to Texas.
It's probably fucking him.
He's the killer.
But like
moved on from. I mean, that's a little insensitive considering people are actually dying in Texas. But
fuck your brother though.
Oi, oi.
Or is that you know what? No, fuck them both. I'm like, which one's nice and which one's not? I actually don't care.
How about this though? If you know about the shoes, if you left the shoes, email us, radiogravepodcast@gmail.com, so we can put it to rest.
It's literally keeping me up at night. Okay.
It sounds like it, dude.
Okay.
You did some investigation into this.
I really did. Well, because it was just so weird, and then I was getting so frustrated that there was nothing there. The only thing that I kept finding was like weird ass people like repeating the same shit over and over and over again in like reels and stuff. And it's like, is there going to be like a discussion about this? Like, that's what I was kind of waiting to find, because that's what I want to see and talk about. But it's all just the same thing of some dude being like, in Western Colorado, a guy who has a YouTube channel who does epoxy found 10 pairs of women's high heel shoes in a pond. The police think it's not murder. What do you think? It's like, I don't.
Oh my God.
You know, and it's like,
thanks, brother.
Literally. I'm like, okay, I needed to talk about it. Now that it's off my chest, I can talk about other stuff. Also, before we move on to our next topic, I do just want to say, like Gypsy Rose Blanchard is pregnant, right? She just announced that she's pregante, and
Gregnate.
she's gregnate, and like whatever, good for her. I love, we all love her. She's a rose. Some would even say she's a gypsy rose. But
Stop it.
anyway,
Stop it.
anyway, so she's pregnant, and her baby shower registry is like $1 million. Let me
Good God.
let me pull it up.
I mean, work that fame, baby. Shit.
She's like worth a lot anyway, because she has sold like the rights to her, like, you know what I mean? Like, since she's gotten out, she's actually done a lot.
Might as well.
Yeah, I mean,
fucking would.
I don't like, she's been so crazy like public, and I mean, whatever. Like, what would you do? That's what I would do. Like, what else are you supposed to do?
Yeah, capitalize, dude. You already went through all that.
Yeah,
At least you
like,
can make a buck off of it and live off of it. Shit.
literally. Also it says that she has a $3 million net worth.
Interesting.
I don't know why. I would just assume that everybody listening knows who Gypsy Rose Blanchard is, but she was the victim of Munchausen by proxy. Her mother forced her to live her life as a little girl. She was stealing like dead patients' identities to make her younger and younger and younger with their social security numbers. She tortured her. She removed her teeth. She administered medication to her that she didn't need. She would shave her head, making everybody believe that she couldn't walk. She had cancer. She had all of these things, and they would go
lots of medical abuse, unnecessary surgeries and procedures and all that.
Yeah, I think at one point she had like what is it called? Like a feeding tube, which is like insane because she could eat just fine.
Yeah.
But even she didn't know that. Her whole life had kind of been like that. Her mom was like a fucked up person, like straight up was like a fucked up piece of shit. And basically her mother also benefited from this because of all the attention. There were always fundraisers happening for Gypsy so that she could get surgeries, and that so she could do, surgeries and medication and chemotherapy, and she would go to Disneyland, and like people would buy them things, and you know what I mean? It was always shit like that. So when she got older, she met a guy online who, I think he was just like a low IQ, like some, you know what I mean? Just like a really not a very intelligent man. And they fell in love, and she basically was like, I think we should kill my mom. So he like came out to where they lived. He killed her mom, and then they tried to run away with each other, and they got caught. So he like went to prison, and she went to prison, and now she's out and is pregnant and is worth $3 million and is I would say a cultural icon.
I would say so.
Yeah.
Her case is very near and dear to my heart because my family has a how would you say that? My family has an alleged Munchausen thing going on in it. You know about it. I don't quite want to make it public exactly, but
yeah,
there's people who are dead. Like, so it's very interesting for me in particular.
Yeah.
Now I don't know much about raising babies, but what would you need to be $1 million worth for babies? Like fancy baby clothes? Is that why it adds up? Like best of the best baby shit?
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Okay. That's fine.
Yeah, like I think it's
my baby wears Givenchy only.
Like she wants to get like the Travel LX stroller, which I guess is $550, and then like a $130 baby camera. What is that called?
Baby monitor?
A baby monitor, yeah. And then there's like a really fancy high chair that's like over $100, a $250 car seat.
Wait. I just thought of something. When you said baby camera, they should, when babies are old enough to like walk and fall over, they should put GoPros on them, on their heads.
I agree.
That would be awesome. I would watch that if they had like a live channel and it's just the baby like constantly falling over. He's like running toward the dog and just falls and then does it again and falls on the way. Oh, that'd be awesome.
I hate that everybody is just like, she wants a $550 stroller. I'm like, you need to tell me how much it really is, because I just said it was $1 million. So I need help to say that that is incorrect. I don't know. Her fucking baby registry is insane. I mean, every item is like $500. It doesn't really matter.
Let's speculate about something I would never bother to speculate about with a famous person. What's the baby's name? What do you think the baby's name is going to be? Boy name, girl name?
Oh, I think it's going to be a girl.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of a slur.
Oh my God.
Like a dated slur that people still say. Like, maybe.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Well, don't say any of them. My God.
It's like how people would name their kids like China with like CHY.
Oh yeah.
It could be like,
oh God, what if she named it like Navajo or something?
Jesus Christ. Oh my God.
I could see that.
Sorry, Zach just scared the shit out of me.
I'm going to re-say what I said.
Yeah, I literally just jumped out of my fucking skin. So you think that she would just choose something like Navajo? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Yes.
I was going to say that again because I think you might have overlapped it.
I did, because I was screaming because I thought Zach was an intruder. He was like looking at me through like the fucking door.
Crack in the door?
Yeah.
Oh God.
In the dark.
Oh Jesus.
It was scary.
Zach, tone it down a little bit.
He's like, I'm taking a shower. Okay.
Hey, I'm taking a shower, just letting you know.
Literally.
Happy anniversary. And you're like, oh my God.
But
yeah, no, I could see her naming it something like Navajo.
I mean, it's not like I've never met someone named Lakota or, you know what I mean? Like, I think people definitely do that. This is
my daughter, Siam.
My God. Mongolia. I'm trying to
Orienta.
I literally was just about to say, what if she named her Orienta and then they nicknamed and her nickname was soy sauce like fucking Top Ramen did. You remember when Top Ramen changed the name of their blue flavor from Oriental to soy sauce?
Saddest day of my life, but yeah.
And I don't even think they make that flavor anymore. And it was
They do. Oh, they do. I have a pack in my fucking pantry right now.
From Nissan or
Maruchan.
Yes. Okay. I'm going to just have to start buying Maruchan because I don't know where to get it. And I feel like I'm just going to have to start buying it online because the soy sauce flavor it's all I fucking dream about and not the O word. So anyway.
I dream about the Orient daily.
Moving on. So yeah, I think that, okay, so if it's a girl, I think that her name will be Orienta. And I'm trying to think of it. I'm trying to think of a middle name, a double name, like how Gypsy Rose's name is. Orienta Daisy. How about that? Orienta Lily. Yeah, Orienta Lily. Because we know a Daisy, and Daisy is a maze.
Mm-hmm. I think could be not Orienta. I think it.
No, that's what I chose.
I think it'll be Siama Poppy.
Siama Poppy?
Yeah. It's beautiful. It's modern. It's classy. You know?
You know what I think is probably more likely? Nevaeh. Which is heaven backwards.
I could also see something like Cherish.
Cherish, you know? Yes. Nevaeh, Cherish, Orienta. I'm trying to think of one that's crazy, and I just can't.
Chinky Dandelion. What do you think of it?
Can you say it again?
Chinky Dandelion. It's not dandelion. It's dandelion. It's Dandeliona.
We just call her Dandy.
Yeah, we just call her Danny for way short.
Yeah.
Or Chi-Chi.
Or Chi-Chi.
They're like, oh, what's Chi-Chi short for? Oh, Chink Dandeliona. They're like, don't worry, Gypsy Rose Blanchard is my mother. And they're like, oh, got it.
Oh my god.
Well, do you want to move on from slurs for a moment?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Well, then I think we will talk about some updates from April regarding the Slender Man stabbings.
Yeah, I saw it back in the spring, and I didn't really pay any attention to it because I really haven't been paying attention to this case at all. I watched the documentary on HBO years ago, and it was just like so tragic, and it sucks. But it's like you said, the Slender Man stabbings update. About Morgan GEYSER, who was one of the little girls who perpetrated the stabbing. Specifically, she was the stabber, but she was looking to be released again, and she was denied again. And there has been some stuff that has come to light, and I think that it should be talked about and also recognized. Because like me, I saw that she got denied once again for release, and I was like, LOL, like she's going to be sitting in that facility for fucking ever. And then I like watched the 35-minute like video that I found, and then also read like 3 articles, and I was like, oh, this is like a lot worse than I thought.
Yeah.
So if you don't...
I think I was going to say, for my benefit and the listeners' benefit, because this is kind of an older case, we should do kind of a debrief of what actually happened and who did what.
Yeah, absolutely. So this happened in 2014. So in 2014, I was... Oh God, how old was I in 2014?
Oh, I'm gonna have to do quick maths here.
I was 19. So you were 22? You were drunk.
Wait, this was 2014?
Yeah.
Let me look. I was 21.
Yeah.
So
You were drunk.
Yeah, I was drunk. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I can't believe it. I feel like it happened way before I was drinking age. That's crazy.
I know, it kind of feels that way. I was kind of surprised to be like, oh, okay. But
yeah, that wasn't that long ago. Huh.
No. But yeah, this happened back in 2014. Oh God, I don't know where this happened. I feel like it was in Illinois or some shit. And
you want me to look it up real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Wisconsin. Waukesha.
So, yeah. So, in 2014, 2 girls, Morgan GEYSER and Anissa, I want to say her how to say her last name, Anissa Wire. I think it's Wire.
Either Wire or Weir, but I think it's Wire.
It could be Wire or Weir. I don't remember. Anyway.
Weird. Does it say I give a shit?
Yeah, I think that it doesn't matter because Anissa isn't really that involved in this story. Oh, in these updates. So Morgan and Anissa were 12 years old when they stabbed their friend 19 times in an effort to please the creepypasta horror figure Slender Man. If you don't know what Slender Man is or who he is, you're fucking old. You need to figure that shit out on your own. It's too much to explain. Just Google it. You know, he's a cultural phenomena for creepypastas. He was like one of the first internet lores that really was like crazily widespread, just like this man. He basically is like, he's always watching. He lives in the forest. He kills children.
Google it.
He's a tall man. He wears a suit and he has tentacles and he, you know what I mean? So it's like that whole thing. He's a creepy figure and he's not real. He's not real.
Google it.
Google it. So Morgan and Anissa are 12 years old, and they plotted to kill their classmate Peyton Lautner, but she also goes by Bella, and I really, really hope that's because of Twilight. But they plotted to kill their classmate Peyton in an effort to become proxies, quote unquote proxies for Slender Man. And they lured Peyton into the woods the morning after Peyton's birthday slumber party. And Morgan stabbed her 19 times while Anissa shouted the orders. I don't remember if Anissa also stabbed her, but I don't think she did. I think that Morgan did. They may have switched off, but I don't remember. I think there was only one knife. I should have looked more into it.
I believe there was one knife, but I don't remember if they switched off.
Basically, yeah. Basically, she just got stabbed 19 times. And they left her there to die. And they planned on walking, like, to a national park somewhere in Wisconsin, like, down the highway, in order to get to Slender Man's castle. That was, like, in this national park, allegedly. That's what they believed. And they left Peyton there to die. And Peyton was able to crawl to a bike path where she was discovered by a passerby who called the police. And basically, if there hadn't been that person walking by, she would have died. Like, that's how vicious this attack was. They really could have, like, this girl almost died. She barely survived. It's a very, very serious attack. So they were immediately picked up. They were asked what, they're covered in blood. They're walking down the highway, two little girls. And they basically just immediately admitted that they did it. And the reason why they did it was for Slender Man. So there was a huge ongoing psychiatric evaluation for both of the girls. And they didn't really go to court until like 2017. So like 3 years later. They were like 15, 16 years old. So Anissa, the one that was shouting the orders, she was like kind of, I don't know if she was like the antagonist. I don't know. It definitely, I don't know. I'm not going to speculate on that. But Anissa pled guilty to second-degree attempted homicide as a party to a crime with the use of a deadly weapon. But the jury found her not guilty by reason of mental disease or defect. So she served time in an institution for 4 years, but was released in 2021 under supervision.
Which I had no idea.
Yeah, she's released. She's been out. And obviously, like, because Morgan was the stabber, she just got a much heavier sentencing because of her actions. And
right.
Things got kind of weird with her. Because obviously, like, Anissa didn't really show that much, like, she said something like, well, the bad part of me wanted her to die, but the good part of me didn't want her to die at all. Like, Anissa would say shit like that. But also, like, Anissa was not the one who stabbed her. Like, Anissa was there watching and telling Morgan to just do it. And shit like that. So Morgan was a lot more complicated. There was a lot of stuff I didn't know because there's a lot of stuff that just recently came out.
Right.
I'm aware.
I didn't know anything. I didn't know anything about the sentencing, honestly.
Yeah.
Or the current situation. When Morgan had psychiatric treatment and diagnosis, this was the consensus of what was going on with her. It was unspecified schizophrenia and oppositional defiance disorder. So her mom talked about how Morgan would, quote, see ghosts that were biting her and pulling her hair. Her mom also says that she never really talked about it with her. She says that she wished she could, but she's not allowed to because she's, quote, incarcerated.
That's what she said in the documentary. She was like, well, she could see ghosts and tell us that she was biting her and pulling her hair as early as 3 years old, and we just never talked about it. And I wish I could now, but I can't. It's like weird. I'm like, okay.
That is weird.
Yeah.
Like, why can't you?
Yeah.
But she said she believed in unicorns. She also said Severus Snape
from Harry Potter
came into her room. Yeah. Came into her room once at the detention center and kept her up all night. Which, I don't mind that shit. She would say that she was unable to feel stress because she has a power similar to Vulcan mind control. So apparently in the documentary, which I personally haven't seen yet, but the Geyser family kind of trauma dumps about how Morgan's father is also schizophrenic. Her parents said they were worried about how she would react to being schizophrenic, or being told that she was. They knew that she was schizophrenic, but they didn't seek treatment for her somehow. Neglect. Much.
Yeah.
What?
Like I don't remember this in the documentary. And then I was watching it tonight and I was kind of, writing up the document for this, and I'm sitting here and I'm like, "Oh, well listening to these fucking people being like, well, we knew that she was schizophrenic because of the things that she would tell us growing up. And we hid from her that daddy was also schizophrenic. And we were so worried about how she would react to the fact that she was also schizophrenic."
Yeah, how about just tell her she has a medical condition and treat it, the fuck?
Literally, like, okay, schizophrenia is a very serious mental illness, right? It's a very serious mental illness that if it does not get treated, it does serious damage to a person. It's something that does need to be treated. And if you are that concerned about your child being schizophrenic, which you do believe that she is, because there are other people in her family who allegedly also have schizophrenia, like her biological father, why would you not seek treatment for her so she wouldn't have to suffer, right? Well,
yeah.
I don't think that her mother is being honest.
Morgan admits now that she's in her 20s, in the middle of fighting for her release, that she was faking her symptoms. So she was doing that in order to not have to go home to her family. And in her most recent hearing, her psychiatrists and therapists relay what she told them, which is that Morgan's dad was a rampant alcoholic and drug abuser, and he was sexually abusing her as early as she could remember. He watched her shower, and he spied on her, and she slept on the floor. Her mom believed it was to be closer to her guinea pigs, but it was really so her father couldn't molest her because he was disabled. The mom was at work mostly, or she was just aware and couldn't accept it, but the mom also could have been using or abusing substances or alcohol, so.
Right. Well,
apparently, that's what was going on.
Yeah. And Morgan even says that too. She's like, well, now in retrospect, I know that he was on drugs and was drunk. And it's just so fucking sad because when you take that into consideration, seeing this little kid, 12-year-old kid saying these things, doing these things, and talking about, I mean, I'm from this era too. I mean, I was older, when she was 12, I was 19, but that doesn't mean that I'm not aware of her mindset. I'm actually super aware of her mindset. Like, we all know that little girls who are abused are constantly indulging themselves in escapism. How else are they supposed to fucking function when they're being abused by their fathers? Right? As an adult, I do know that if a girl is diagnosed with ODD, which is oppositional defiance disorder, and she is using escapism, pretending that Severus Snape is in her room talking to her all night, when there is a large group of girls who do see Severus Snape as a weird sexual father figure, which I know sounds kind of strange, but every single girl that I grew up with who was obsessed with Severus Snape either wanted him to have sex with them or wanted them as a father. You know what I mean? So it's she's obsessed with Severus Snape. She's obsessed with Slender Man. She's obsessed with being a Vulcan, and she's X, Y, and Z. She's super
She's just like me for real.
She's just like me for real. I mean, she's 12. What else is she supposed to do? And when you take that into consideration, all of these things, her dad is coming into her room to molest her at night. Her dad is watching her fucking shower. And then she's saying things like, I see ghosts in my room and they bite me and they pull my hair.
Yeah.
Well, who's
what
the
could
ghost?
That be then?
Yeah. And then she also said in her most recent hearing that she told her mother over and over and over again, but she did not believe her. So in the documentary, she said, well, we never really talked about it. And now I definitely can't talk to her about it because she's incarcerated. When the first fucking half of the documentary is Anissa's parents and grandparents talking to her on the phone all the time. So what's the fucking excuse? You know, talking about how Severus Snape was in her room at the detention center, not necessarily comforting her, but he was up with her all night, possibly comforting her. She has Vulcan mind control, just like, what's his name? Who's the Vulcan? Spock. Just like Spock. And she can control her stress because she's like Spock. You know what I mean? It's escapism.
Yeah.
She's 12. It's make-believe. She's using, it's a coping mechanism. So then she does this terrible, awful thing, right? She knows that her friend didn't die, but she doesn't, I don't think she comprehends the fact that she could have died and was very close to dying. And because she did not die, maybe she was like, well, you know, I'm not really in that much trouble. Then she realizes, oh, well, while I'm incarcerated in this center, this detention center, I have adults talking to me all the time, and I get to talk to them about whatever I want, and I don't have to be at home with my fucking pedophile father and my neglectful mother. So she's like in this detention center around adults that are, I guess you could say, safe, and she's kind of playing up the schizophrenia and the voices and the imagery and all this stuff, and then it's being put upon her. You know what I mean? And then also it's very obvious that in the documentary, whatever lawyer they got for her was going to try and ramp up on the schizophrenia thing, and that's probably why her parents were saying that. You know what I mean? So now she is an adult. Fucking Anissa's been released, and Morgan and Anissa are not friends, obviously. Morgan has a lot of animosity towards Anissa, especially the fact that Anissa was also, you know, premeditated this, and Anissa got it off very, very easily. And also Anissa came from a home with 2 loving parents and good grandparents, and Morgan didn't. Morgan kind of got double down punished. Not only was she born punished, but then because of her actions, she got a heavier sentence, and that's how that works. But now she's 22, and she's fighting for her release. And she's in this detention center where she's kind of being held hostage, in my opinion, where she is like literally just being observed, like observed beyond belief. Where it's like every rainy day that she has and every fucking like mood swing that she has is considered a deterioration of her not getting better. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's not. Like, she's been in there since fucking 2013 or whatever. And 2014. So she's been in there since she was 12, basically. Mm-hmm. And it's been 10 years. So she's currently, I think in the last year, exhibited lots of self-harm. She actually tried to kill herself. She's made several attempts to kill herself, and she had one suicide attempt that was extremely serious. And it resulted in the breaking of the blood vessels and bulging of her eyes after attempting suicide. She tried to hang herself, and she got very, very, very close to dying herself. And it was very serious. And people are like, at least her psychiatrists are like, obviously she's too volatile to be released. But also the reason why she's trying to commit suicide is not because she's schizophrenic. It's because she's fucking trapped in this facility. And she's not really given an opportunity to even be transferred somewhere where she could maybe, you know, begin her, what is it called? Integration back into society. Mm-hmm. I mean, so much of this has come from her father abusing her.
Right.
There were like 5, and it's just, she was immature. She was desperate for attention. She was just a fucking weird, nerdy kid. And she was experimenting with escapism. She's fucking 12. She's too young to get her hands on any drugs or alcohol in Wisconsin, I think, you know, that will really like help her like escape from being alive, you know. So she has to do other things like pretend that Snape is her dad, or, you know, pretend that she's a Vulcan so she can control stuff with her mind. You know, if she hadn't have stabbed her friend to death, she probably would have just started cutting and developed an eating disorder and got addicted to Adderall. Like, let's be fucking real. Like, you know, the shit gets worse no matter what. So she saw like, so all of her psychiatrists and therapists were at her hearing, and there was only one out of like the 5 that actually like told the judge that she was ready to be released. All the other ones were like, well, you know, we've been watching her for 10 years and we definitely think that like she's not ready to be released. This one is the only one that had any reasoning that like made sense. While everyone else was saying, no, she just needs to stay behind here because she just is like too volatile and she'll be too vulnerable to stressors. He said that she needs socialization. She needs education, and she needs to just be out of a fucking institution. Like, she's under a microscope. She has no freedom. She has had no ability to find herself in this 10-year period. The detention center where she is at can no longer give her treatment, because now the treatment that she's in need of is like I think it's more spiritual. It's not so much mental or physical ailments. It's more spiritual ailments. Like, she needs
You mean like emotional?
Yes. Like, I think that like she needs, like, she's just, I mean, spiritual in a sense where like she's just trying to fucking kill herself. Like, I think it goes beyond emotional. Like, I think that it has just been suffering. She did stab that girl. I'm not saying Morgan's an angel, but I'm saying that 10 years in an institution is, I think, fair at this point. I'm not saying that she's going to get released out into the public and just go fucking nuts. But what is going to happen is that when she does get released, she will be living somewhere that's probably not in Wisconsin. And she'll probably have a fucking ankle bracelet on. And will be living under like high, like security, I guess you could say. Or like she would be supervised. So, you know, but she just deserves to not have to be institutionalized anymore. Like, so he said that he believed that the detention center was causing more harm, basically. And they're like, well, it doesn't matter if it's causing her harm. She's too unstable. And they denied her again. And, you know, I think her lawyer said, well, when do you think that she'll be able to be released? And pretty much everyone unanimously was like, it could be 6 months, a year, 2 years. You know, some of them said that they couldn't even give an estimate and they were unwilling to. You know, a lot of these psychiatrists that I listened to too were so stern, like clinical, than it was like actually like a person.
I mean, a lot of them are like that, especially in criminal matters, right?
Right.
But I would like to have heard, I guess, what those other doctors were saying, because on one hand, yeah, I totally agree. Like, if the other girl's out, then fucking A, why isn't, you know, and she's just suffering in the institution, right? But I could understand if the treatment that she needed or the conditions that she is currently suffering are purely trauma-based, and that it's something that she would need to be treated for in an institution. Right. I could understand that. But if there is proof that treatment is no longer working or isn't for anything, you know,
yeah,
then at that point, what do you do?
Well, there's options. You know, they could move her into a different institution. You know, they could release her under heavy supervision. There are lots of things that they could do. I mean, one of the things is that they said that I guess the thing that bothers them the most is her saying, I was faking it, or that I was exaggerating it. And the only reason why I was doing it is because I didn't want to go home. And I think that they think that that's so outlandish. They think that, oh, there's no way that she would do that. Like, everything that she said was true, blah, blah, blah. I don't believe that for a second. Like,
Oh, neither do I.
I've met kids like Morgan Geyser. Like, you know what I mean? I went to school with kids like that. I went to school with a girl who would brag about how her dad beat her until one of the teachers had to mandatory report it. And her dad wasn't doing that. She was just going around pretending like her dad was. And she like was really into anime and like thought that she was an anime character, would like pretend with like that kind of stuff. And it's like, okay, so what makes Morgan Geyser not that same kind of girl? You know what I mean? Not saying that Morgan Geyser is lying about her abuse, but it is not, it's children like her age are not unable to pretend and lie. Like, you know what I mean? So especially if she's like, oh, I'm like talking and these adults are listening. And I know I did a fucked up thing, but like, it's not like she died. Like, what's like, nothing's going to happen to me. She's a 12-year-old brain. She doesn't know fucking shit. Now she has a 22-year-old brain. She knows what she did wrong. She knows what's going on in her life. And she knows that she has no life in Winnebago, which is the hospital where she's at. So she just keeps trying to fucking kill herself. So it's like, obviously there needs to be some sort of change. And I just feel so fucking bad for her. I literally was like, oh, I don't fucking care. Like, she'll get out when she gets out. But then seeing everything she's been talking about recently, I'm like, oh, like, this is terrible. Like, obviously her parents, now that she's an adult, are like not involved. Especially since she's like come out against them being like, yeah, my mom fucking knew and she was always at work and I tried to tell her and my dad fucking molested me and was abusing me. And I mean, her details on that are pretty like, she doesn't get into, you know, actually like details, but there are some things that she like mentions that are enough to me to make sense, where she's saying like, yeah, I'd sleep on the floor to be, you know, and they thought it was to be close to my guinea pigs, but it's because my dad couldn't get up and down off the floor. You know, and I don't think that her dad has schizophrenia. And when I when I rewatched the video, he was totally clear. Like you know what I mean? He was totally clear-headed. He seemed totally normal. And they asked him like, well, what are you seeing? Are you seeing things right now? And, you know, if he's having to lie about it, he's like, I see shapes. I see there's some colors over there and, you know, like triangles. And it's just like, I don't know. I've talked to people who have schizophrenia. Like, you know what I mean? There's one guy that I know that I see all the time. And the fact of the matter is that if her dad does have schizophrenia and he's not being treated, and if he's a drug addict, like, I think that there would be a lot more going on than just, oh, I just have to put up static in my brain so I don't experience schizophrenia. You know what I mean?
I just have like a really mild, like an occasional schizophrenia.
It just seemed really like forced.
Yeah.
And then the whole thing with her being just creative and imaginative and interested in escapism and believing things that aren't real. Like, she's a little kid, you know. 12 years old is still a little kid to me. 6th grade, you know, that weird in-between period, like, ugh. So anyways, that's kind of that. What do you think of that? Do you think it's fair? Like, what do you think is the answer for Morgan Geyser? Like, she's 22.
I think some investigation would be required. Like thinking of it logically, reasonably. Because like emotionally, like instinctively, I'm like, we'll just fucking let her out, see how it goes. Like,
Yeah.
the other girl's out, what the fuck not? Like, fair.
It's weird that the other girl is out. She did not have to fight very hard to be released.
No, and I thought, like, I thought if anyone was going to be released first, it would be Morgan, because everything that I've read kind of showed Morgan as this very impressionable, kind of, not to be rude, kind of dumb kid.
Yeah.
And then Anissa being kind of the mastermind to all of this.
A little bit more manipulative. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of being the brains of the operation.
And I think it was Anissa that was the one that showed her Slender Man and told her about Slender Man and you know, gave her the lore, and then it was like, yeah, like he lives in this Wisconsin state park. And also another detail that should be said is that the reason why they did it was to become proxies, and that if they didn't do it, then Slender Man was going to kill their families. That was like another detail. And like, when does playing go too far? I mean, obviously right now. Also, if she was schizophrenic and that's why she did it, I mean, the crime was premeditated. They knew they were going to do it. Like, they went to Peyton's slumber party. They went downstairs and they ate donuts and strawberries for breakfast. They fucking stole a knife, hid it in their fucking sweatshirts, went out into the woods and fucking stabbed her and then left. Right. Like, it was fucking premeditated. You know, whether or not she could be convinced more so because she is schizophrenic is kind of like up in the air.
Right. And so, I was going to say what I think is reasonable and fair and logical would be to investigate the claims of abuse, right? See what they can find out, see how likely that is to be the truth, evaluate her for the mental illnesses that she had been diagnosed with before, and then based on that, let her out, see how it goes.
Yeah,
I mean,
literally.
both courses of action, I say, end in just letting her out.
Yeah.
In the end, obviously, not immediately, because I think there would need to be a lot of evaluation to see what is the actual problem here and what could actually help.
Yeah. I mean, she's already been in there for 10 years. I think her maximum sentencing is that they could hold her for up to 35.
Woof.
Which means that she would be getting out when she was almost 50. Like, that is something that makes sense if she is that advanced and delusional in schizophrenia. Yeah. The thing is that, like, we've talked about schizophrenia before. Schizophrenia is such a complicated mental illness, but even like the doctors who spoke on her behalf at her sentencing or during her release hearing, they say, well, yes, diagnosing schizophrenia is extremely difficult to do in adolescence because it's not that common. So why are they all unanimously like diagnosing her with unspecified schizophrenia when she hasn't really consistently showed symptoms, according to some of them, according to others that she has? And they're like, well, we put her on antipsychotics and she responded very well to them. I've been put on antipsychotics, and guess what? I responded well to them too, because it's like kind of a sedative. It helped me sleep. It made me feel less anxious. It kind of made me not think about anything. And when all you want to do is fucking cut yourself and hang yourself because you're in a detention center and you feel guilty about what you did to your friend, and you might be in there for 35 years. Yeah, it might keep you from doing those things. You know what I mean? Like, they give antipsychotics to fucking prisoners, violent ones, to make them not beat the shit out of other people. Like, that's a fucking fact.
Yeah, it's I
Seroquel
read about
or something.
Yeah, I actually recently got prescribed Seroquel, and they were talking to me about how it is used as like an anti-aggression medication.
Yeah.
Um,
So,
so that checks out. I mean, I think a lot of people could respond well to antipsychotics just for that alone,
yeah. I mean, it's like,
just for the mood stabilization
yeah,
aspect.
yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it's all very, kind of frustrating to me because
Sure.
I think that just to hear one doctor say, from a perspective that's like, she has been in here for 12 years or 10 years. She has had no socialization. She has had minimal education. Her whole life is under a microscope, being in this institution, constantly talking about, do you remember this thing that you did and how fucked up you are and how fucked up your brain is? Like, constantly putting her on antipsychotics, taking her off of them. Like, that's a fucking terrible, terrible way to live, especially if you did that when you were 12 and you were playing up your symptoms because, you thought maybe it was a positive thing for you to do, because the result would be you weren't going to get molested anymore, according to her.
Right.
Like, of course, a 12-year-old would think like that. And Anissa was the one who seemed the most apathetic about it. Like, oh, well, the bad in me, knew she had to die. But the good in me felt bad because I didn't want her to die. It's like, you're 12. Whereas, like, in some of the interviews, like, Morgan is she's talking about stabbing her. And she said something like, I didn't know what was happening. It was, like, weightless. I just kept stabbing her.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's pretty accurate, I feel like, for someone in a adrenaline rush sort of state to, like, stab someone 19 times. I also want to be totally clear. Stabbing people is not easy. I think that there's like this.
From what I hear, yeah.
Yeah, I think there's like this thing that people believe that it's like easy to stab someone over and over and over again, but I guess it's not. 19 times is crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know. So it is like super complicated, but
I think if anything, Morgan should have been released first.
Yeah, I think if anything, I think
Less
that
at
they
fault.
I think that it is really interesting that Anissa did so little time. And like I said, she was released with an ankle bracelet and it got taken off like not very long after. And then she was just under like supervision. She got her ankle bracelet taken off on 9/11. Why does 9/11 always be coming up in my life? But also we have to take into consideration that she has parents who are advocating for her the whole time and grandparents who loved her. You know, in the documentary, they're receiving calls from the detention center where she's at. And she's like, hi, daddy. Hi. Talking to her parents. And then fucking Morgan's mom is like, I can't talk to her because she's incarcerated. It's like, you can talk to her. Anissa's being talked to. Like, who's advocating for Morgan? It seems like her mother isn't. Her father definitely isn't. So, like, if there was someone there to tell her that she was going to get through it and everything was going to be okay and mom and dad were there for her and reassure her, I'm sure that she would have improved. But she's not been able to improve because her parents don't fucking care, it seems like. The only adults in her life are just therapists and psychiatrists who are looking at her like a specimen, like a monkey that they're observing. I don't know. I just felt so bad for Morgan. I thought this was so interesting because especially when you compare it to the documentary, to what she's saying now, I'm like, I just want to say too, Peyton, the victim, amazing girl, amazing woman now to have survived that and to have gone through those things and been able to heal from it and move on from it. I mean, I don't think she'll ever move on, but like she is so strong and I am so glad that she lived, and I'm so sad. I'm so sorry that that happened to her and her family. That she loved those girls, her friends, so much, and she trusted them so much. I don't think that even when I was 12, I could not imagine the girls that I hung out with stabbing me, wanting to stab me to death. How devastating and life-altering that would be, not only because I almost died, but like, who can you ever trust again when you're a child and other children try to kill you? Mm-hmm. Like, what the fuck? Like, how do you live the rest of your life normally? So shout out to Peyton, aka Bella, but no, for real, like, she's amazing. I'm sorry that happened to her, but advocating for Morgan to be released, because I think that she served her time and she needs to be under supervision or like transferred to somewhere else.
That's fair.
I think that's fair. But I think more people should be talking about this case again and revisiting it and actually like looking at it and getting a different view on it. Not necessarily making their actions, lighter or pitying them more. I think it's more so looking at like how the abuse has continued on for Morgan, from childhood into her teenage years and now into early adulthood.
It's a conversation to have for sure.
Yeah. Like,
morally, medically.
Yeah.
It's a conversation.
Yeah. 'Cause I think it is abuse at this point. So, and it's in Wisconsin too. Like,
how awful.
I don't know. Like, I feel like Wisconsin is, I don't know very much about Wisconsin. I mean, there's nothing really to know.
They got Milwaukee.
They have a ton of serial killers from there. Like, fucking, what's that? I keep wanting to say David Blaine. What the fuck?
Oh my God. David Blaine, serial killer?
Who was the guy that ate people?
Dahmer. Jeffrey
Dahmer. I think Jeffrey Dahmer was from Ohio, but he lived in Wisconsin, Milwaukee.
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, poor Wisconsin and poor Morgan and poor Peyton. Sure, poor Anissa. I don't really know what she's doing now, but I mean, she's out in the interviews and stuff. Like, Morgan does refer to her as a fucking bitch, though.
Nice.
She says, and that fucking bitch egging me on and stuff like that. So,
yeah, fair enough.
I mean, she hates her, but also like, maybe there's an element of like Anissa got to like just go to the detention center for 5 years and then get out, and was celebrated when she got out. And even I feel like when Morgan gets out, who knows? I don't think that she'll be celebrated or taken care of. Like, who's going to be there to take care of her, help her reintegrate into society? Like, her like pedophile father, her neglectful, like narcissistic mother. Fucking who knows? But anyway.
What about, you know who probably would be there?
Who?
Chinky Dandeliona.
Oh, God. I can't. Not with Dandy.
Danny, no.
Was it Dandy or Danny?
I think Danny. I think Dan is a good way to hide that name.
Yeah. Oh.
Dandy is still a little weird. They'd say, "Hey, what's that short for?" Like, if it's Danny, people are thinking Danielle.
Yeah, Danielle. If you're, it's Dandy, you say, it's Dandelonia. What did you say?
Dandeliona?
Dandeliona?
Yeah.
Oh, God. How am I supposed to spell that?
You can't say that first part.
No, I would never.
How do you spell Dandeliona?
Yeah.
You write dandelion and put an A at the end.
I fucking hate you so fucking much right now.
What are you talking about?
I just fuck you, dude. But anyway, wow. I'm glad that we were able to hash and shoot the shit. We've been recording a couple of things here and there. We do have like a recording date set up, so we're going to be seeing each other in person very, very soon.
And a recording space, which is exciting.
Yes, and a recording space. Like, special thanks to one of our really, really close friends who I will not name drop them unless they want to be name dropped. So I need to ask for permission first. But they have
Let's just say their last name is Blanchard, middle name Dandeliona. But
first name Orienta. Or soy sauce.
It's like only certain people can call her by her real name.
I call her Dan. I can't even say it. Dandeliona.
So say Dandelion.
Dandelion.
Like dandelion, but weird, right?
Right.
Dandelion.
Dandeliona.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I think so too. Anyways, so that'll be it for this first edition of Evil Airwaves. You can probably expect us to drop in here and there, probably maybe once a month, just whenever there's current events. You know, we're not gonna commit to anything. There's not always shit to talk about, but it's like when there are Boy in the Box updates, we will be here for that. Because I'm still waiting on those. I'm still looking out for those. And other true crime stuff. I think that I'm more okay with talking about true crime in this fashion, where I feel like there's actually something to really talk about, where it's not just like just talking about like violence against, you know, women and then dudes like going to prison, you know? So
you say you act as if we're not going to give updates about like aliens and things.
Oh my God. Yeah, we'll totally give updates about aliens. We'll talk about, I could
Phenomena.
The phenomena. I could even bring up that one alien video that I sent you of the guy getting abducted. And I was like, oh, what the fuck is this? This is so lame. And then it wasn't fucking lame. It was scary as fuck. So maybe I'll put that up on the Instagram. If you've made it this far into Evil Airwaves, which who knows? I mean, we've been talking a lot and some people are like, get sick of that, I'm sure.
Why are they listening then?
I don't know.
You know?
I don't know. I mean, I don't make the rules. So
I do.
I know you do. But yeah, keep your eye out. There will be more Evil Airwaves. We're going to keep doing it because I made a cover for it. So it took me all day.
Sorry.
I mean, oh no, don't be sorry. I just wanted to make it perfect. I hope it looks good. So
it does.
Thank you.
Yes.
I did a really good job, I think. So we're going to have more blooper reels dropping. I think once a month we'll have a grave mistakes out for you. And we'll see you on Halloween. Well, that's it for now. We will see you guys. We will talk to you guys. We will talk at you. We will we'll catch you guys at some point. Follow us on the flip-flop. Follow us on Instagram. That's the only place where we are at. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Spotify. You can become a patron at patreon.com/radiograve. And yeah, I'd say just come over to the Instagram, please. Like, I've been putting up so many fucking stupid ass shit. Like, I've just been shit posting so hard over there, and I think that,
dude, as you should,
it's been giving me so much like life to shit post. Good. Some of it I've had to pull back. Really? I might put it up, well, because I didn't want to put it up with no context, and I kind of was like, well, how am I supposed to put this up with context? But there was a video that got suggested to me, like a reel, and it's literally just a UFO with the X-Files theme song playing on top of it. And it said, like, the caption said something like, nothing is real and everyone is gay, or something.
Oh, yeah. No, I saw that. It said everything is fake and gay.
Oh, yeah. Everything is fake and gay. And I was like, oh, my God, that's so funny. I'm going to put that on the Instagram. And then I had to really think about if that was a good idea or not, because it might be kind of offensive. And I don't know. Should I put it up? Because I will.
I don't find it offensive personally, but.
Okay. Well, I'll tag you in it like you put it up.
As a fake gay, I think it's fine.
I'm a queer baiting queen, actually.
You're fake hyphen gay. I'm fake comma gay.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. But it's not intentional. I'm not that kind of person. When I first started my job, like over a year ago, all the people that I worked with, they were positive I was a lesbian. They said, "You scream lesbian. You're nothing more than a lesbian." And then I talked about Zach.
You're nothing more.
I talked about Zach and they were like, "Ew, you're not a lesbian?" And I was like, "No, I'm like cis het." They were like, "Gross."
They vomit. Yeah.
I mean, I have to take into consideration that I work with a crew of 12 people. Like, I think there's 3 of us that are cis het.
Dude, you're the minority now.
Yeah. And everyone else is LGBTQ plus everything, you know, everybody's everything and they just do what they want. And I love it. And
is it scary?
The best part is that I don't have to be around any straight men ever.
Is it scary being around a bunch of gay?
No, I absolutely love it.
I was scared.
They're very nice. They're totally cool. Don't worry.
They're people just like you and me.
They're people just like you and me. And if you want, I can introduce you to like 12 of them. They're not all gay, but
yeah,
some of them are bisexual. Some of them are asexual. Some of them are straight too, but that doesn't mean that they're not necessarily in the LGBTQ community. So, you know, pride. I mean, I know June is over, but you know, we love the queer. So anyway, thank you guys so much for listening to Evil Airwaves. We will catch you very, very soon and more talking for too long. Goodbye.
Sooner than you think.
Yeah, sooner than you think, biatch. Because I'm gonna kind of keep my eyes open for this kind of stuff because there's always shit I want to talk about, but I don't. Thank you for listening. Amber out. Flies away.
Shit. Oh, she's gone. She flew away.
That's what like a helicopter sounds like. I don't know. That's just me breathing. Weird.
And I'm out.
It's fucked up.
That's what it sounds like when I slither away.
Are you slithering like slug style or snake style?
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Oh no. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks. We love you guys. It was so good to talk to you guys. Talk at you. Goodbye.
Bye.
At 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, multiple unidentified objects were confirmed to have entered Earth's atmosphere. It is speculated that these objects are of extraterrestrial origin. The broadcast will quiet at this time for your safety. Continue to carry out the following instructions.
Radio Grave is hosted by Amber Byland and Dominique Makasuya. Music courtesy of AOA Music, Carl Casey at White Bat Audio, and intro music by Simon Bickbyler. Audio mixing and editing by Amber Byland. Logo and cover art by Dominique Makasuya. All other media and sound clips used are protected under fair use and are for the purpose of criticism, commentary, news reporting, education, and research. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.